2022 has been a huge year. We were addicted to Wordle. Will Smith slapped Chris Rock.
Keep my name out your fucking mouth!
We were mobbed.
It's morbid time.
And the Queen died. But what was 2022 like for anime? In this video, I have created multiple categories to award a single anime and why it stood out. So, with that out of the way, let's get into it. The dark horse of 2022. It is Cyberpunk Edgerunners. The reason why it is a dark horse is that no one saw this being so successful. From the ashes of a buggy, glitchy game that was released in 2022 came this fantastic anime created by Trigger. Whilst Trigger being a successful studio, I still had my doubts. The story of the video game was very average, so I could not really see how this anime would do so well. But boy was I wrong. This anime uses perhaps the best thing about the video game, which is the world. By using the beautiful animation of Studio Trigger, the world building and atmosphere is perhaps one of the best things about this anime. Combined with the wacky fights that are bread and butter of Trigger, it creates an outstanding anime, using all the good things from the video game, even the music, and adding their own take to the story and the world, making the bad things in video games extremely well done. This is the dark horse of 2022. This is a must watch and one of the best works of Studio Trigger. The best sequel of 2022. This might be a weird award to have, but 2022 has given us dozens of sequels. You got series like Tiger and Bunny finally getting a sequel, as well as anticipated sequels such as Made in Abyss, Mob Psycho, Classroom of Elite. I could go on. So I thought it would be worth creating this award. So can we have a drum roll please? The winner is the Tatami Time Machine Blues. Many of you perhaps have not heard of this before, but this is a sequel to the Tatami Galaxy, a series released in 2010. With such a big gap, I was surprised that a sequel was being released this year. The story follows the same group of characters that were in the series previously, but also has its standalone story. This story actually uses a plot of a play and film, Summer Time Machine Blues. This series is only 6 episodes, but to see these characters from over 12 years ago completely slip back into their roles whilst telling perhaps the story and using time travel in the best way possible. In this series, time travel is never overly complex. If something has already happened in the present, it cannot be changed. And normally an unknown action in the present was caused by the actions by time travelling. It's more of a comedy than a sci-fi time travel adventure. It is a very light-hearted anime that whilst could be watched by itself, I would highly recommend to watch the prequel if you haven't already, as it gives much more context to the characters. What made this stand out from other sequels? Well, whilst other sequels more or less continue the story of a prequel, this gave a whole new story to the anime that I thought was long finished. Sometimes this happens with series, where an unnecessary sequel is added and taints the prequel. This, however, is not the case. A sequel I did not ask for, but definitely a great one. The most underrated anime of 2022. Now, the most underrated anime is an anime not talked about nowhere near enough. The likes of Chainsaw Man and Spy Family will obviously not be under consideration. So what is the most underrated anime? The answer is Romantic Killer. With under 100,000 members on my anime list, this is definitely an underrated anime. Released in October by Netflix, Romantic Killer focuses heavily on comedy and romance, perhaps two genres I do not find myself watching that often. To give you a quick summary, it follows Anzu, who is more interested in dating sims rather than actual real life romance. Due to the declining birth rate, a wizard named Riri is put to the task to make Anzu fall in love by putting her in real life dating sim situations with 3 different guys. This show is basically a reverse harem, but done in a funny way. Whilst it makes fun of the cheesy dating sims, it also still has its own romantic plot. This is done very well, and even the likes of me, someone who is not interested in romance anime, I was very much binging Romantic Killer. The cast is very likeable, and the story likes to throw a lot of curveballs to keep the viewer on their toes. Just to add to this, Netflix has released many anime this year, and honestly, a lot of it is still very underrated, even though they are on the biggest streaming platform service. I feel like Netflix has developed a bad name for itself, but in 2022, Netflix has really had a lot more hits than misses, and I would advise not to be afraid to check any out. Best Opening of 2022. Best Opening. Now this is very debatable, and for sure no matter what I say, it will be the wrong answer to many people. It is not Attack on Titan, Spy Family, nor is it Chainsaw Man. I know, not Chainsaw Man, My pick for the best opening of 2022 is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 6 Opening 2. With trying to reduce spoilers to a minimum, the ending of Part 6 changes JoJo forever, and this opening highly emulates this. Not only is the song great, but the weight of everything is felt. The song is literally called Heaven's Falling Down. It feels like the inevitable ending of the world of JoJo will happen. If we factor in the second version, which changes parts and adds sound effects, it is even more emotional. From a non-JoJo fan's point of view, I can see why the opening may just be shrugged off, but the fact is, I am a JoJo fan, and obviously this will put a heavy part on why I chose this opening. Whilst you could argue that other openings have more catchier songs and the animation flows smoother, I think emotionally, something that makes you feel should play a heavy part on why you rate something. Anime of the Year. Finally, we have the Anime of the Year. So many anticipated anime have come out this year, but only one anime can be Anime of the Year. So what is it? Kotaro Lives Alone. Yes, an anime about a 4-year-old boy who lives alone, beats the likes of Chainsaw Man, Blue Lock, Spy Family, and whatever else you can think of that has come out this year. Another anime released by Netflix. This anime is literally about a 4-year-old who lives alone. Exactly what the title says, nice and simple. So how can such a simple premise be the Anime of the Year? Whilst this anime does seem like a comedy, as it is a 4-year-old who lives by himself and takes care of himself like an adult, it also can be emotional, because he is a 4-year-old who takes care of himself like an adult. The writing of this story is very clever, as a situation perhaps that will never happen in the real world feels so real in this series. The series is not a sad one as such, as it creates a great blend of humour with emotional scenes. Kotaro himself is an unusual character, still retaining his child innocence. He has maturity of an old man due to his living circumstances, and this blend is something not really done before. There are many serious topics, such as abuse and neglect, but I promise you, whilst it does handle these topics very well, it is very much a pick-me-up anime. An anime that will make you feel happy, and yet 5 minutes later have you flooded with tears. Kotaro may not have a family, but he does have a family in those who live in the apartment complex that Kotaro lives in. These characters are great, and Kotaro bounces off them so well. Whilst they look after Kotaro, Kotaro also indirectly makes them want to be better. Kotaro's charm and kindness not only shines through to the other characters, but to the audience as well. It is this heartwarming essence of a show that really pushes it to be so good. You see, the characters have emotional damage, to thinking they are not good enough, to thinking they will be alone. But by having this connection with this 4-year-old who lives alone, it helps them go past these doubts. Much like how we feel better when we are with friends and family, almost all our doubts vanish. Kotaro, just by being himself, truly inspires the other characters that they can do better. The Anime of the Year does not have to be some eye-watering anime where the fights will blow your mind or how perfect the animation is. It is something that is unique, or something that resonates with you. Kotaro Lives Alone does that. A simple yet never been done before concept in anime. Thank you for watching my Anime Awards of 2022. Obviously I imagine plenty of you disagree with my choices, as we all have different tastes, and I have not watched every anime that has come out in 2022, so please do let me know what you would pick for the categories. Before I finish, I would like to raise further awareness that the war in Ukraine is still ongoing. Even as we celebrate the holidays, thousands of Ukrainian people are losing their homes and their loved ones. A war that started in 2022 has no end in sight and needs any help possible. I have listed some websites in my description to show different ways you can help Ukraine. I understand that the cost of living is going up and up, but there are other ways than financial aid to help. Please, if possible, check out the websites. Thank you. Once again, thank you for watching. Do not forget to like and subscribe for more anime content headed into 2023. Have a happy new year, and I'll see you in the next video.